Hello, everyone. I'm Petros Plakogiannis. I have 15 years experience in software testing. I am test team leader and test automation engineer. And today, I'm going to tell you a story about BDD. So 11 years ago, I started working in a company that's called Trust Greece. And one of our main clients is in chemical industry. We had to build a software that performs chemical assessments, a very interesting software that implements European Union's legislations to protect the environment. It was quite difficult for my team to adopt the corresponding business. We had to understand mathematical models, equations, and the glossary of chemical terms. Of course, we didn't understand anything at all. It was totally darkness. So one day, my manager came to my office and was like, Petro, I just found a solution. We are going to do BDD. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it. So first things first, what is BDD? You might need a PhD in technobabble to understand the terms that you'll find online. So let me first simplify the definition. BDD is a product testing methodology based on what actually users do. It is an extension of agile product development. The first term is behavior. It's not how you write your test. It's not about the tools you use. It's about thinking the behavior of the software you are writing. The second word is driven. That means that you are driving the development using the behavior. If you start writing feature files after written software, you are not driving the development. And of course, the last term is the development, but at the end of the day, we just want to involve our business people. So this was our traditional sprint. Product owners commit the stories to the sprint, developers implement the solutions, testers tested the deliverables, and we applied BDD. But in the beginning, everything went wrong. Let's see why. Remember, BDD is about communication. It's about communication, but we never communicated anything. The manager came and said, Petro, let's do BDD. So no trainings, no coaching, nothing. So testing team adopted BDD as a testing tool. We create our own feature files in order to test the scenarios. And we never had meetings with developers. We never had meetings with business users. We never had meetings with product owners. Also, users continue to send documents and emails with requirements. And feature files are derived from these documents that were all over the place. A total chaos. Also, feature files were created, but never published them somewhere that everyone from the team could be able to review them. Feature files were created, are stored in the source control, and of course, we don't expect our business people that are chemical assessors to know how to use Git. So we never had feedback from our non-technical stakeholders. Also, when we said to analysts to help us creating feature files, they were super negative. They were like, we're an analyst, we're not testers. Because they thought that BDD is a testing tool, not a process. And they wrote something like that, that's a badly written scenario. This is a test case, it's not a requirement. Has so many unnecessary details. So BDD, or that we thought was BDD, was actually killing a project. I'm going to tell you what to do in order to apply proper BDD and what we did. First things first, training. Train people. Have meetings. Coaching. Have conversations. I'm saying this in bold, loud, and clear. If you cannot have a conversation, stop. You cannot do BDD. Having conversations is more important than capturing conversations. And it's more important than automating conversations. Publish your feature files somewhere that's called Living Up documentation. It's called Living Up because it is generated automatically every time the test suite is built. So it's always up to date. Establish a common language that everyone can understand. Create a domain-specific language. This is not a new concept. This book is back from 90s. the practice of building up a common language between developers and users. One of the most important parts is the three amigos meeting. Instead of having one tester, for example, working alone, creating feature files, a greater team comes together to discuss what the software will do. So, in three amigos meetings, product owners, developers, testers, analysts come together, sit inside a room, and come up with examples on how the software should behave, and write them down as feature files and scenarios. Also use correct Gherkin syntax. Instead of this, that's a test case, write something like that. That's a better and clear way to write your scenarios. This is a requirement. Remember, the less the better. I have some points here for Gherkin. The statements must be written in order given when then. Never should given when then repeated per stage. Use end. Do not use many steps for a single scenario, and write the sentences to be brief. And finally, apply BDD as a process, not as a tool. You can start by shifting left and have some meetings between testers and developers, the three amigos meetings. So developers are going to use these feature files in order to implement the solutions, and testers to test the deliverables. And then you can encourage your product owners to write stories with Gherkin acceptance criteria and go more left. And keep three amigos meeting as part of grooming before sprint. This is the fully BDD sprint. We gain a lot from BDD. All parties have strong understanding of the project, high visibility because we had the living up documentation that is always up to date. Developers were confident that they won't break the code, and of course we prove our quality. I'm going to leave you with this. This is my takeaway. So BDD is about communication and collaboration. We need a common universal language. BDD is not automation testing. It's a process. And BDD is not only for testers. It's for developers, for product owners, for analysts, for everyone. And paraphrasing the famous phrase of William Shakespeare's play Hamlet, to BDD or not to BDD, I will say that there is no correct answer. If you want to apply BDD, you have to apply it properly. Just remember there's more than one way to create a good software. Thank you.